Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is How Can We Create the Future We Desire? And the other day I was watching TikTok and I saw Joe Dispenza giving an interview. And for those of you who don't know him, he is an alternative practitioner in the field of personal development. And he talks a lot about creating the future that we want based on us creating how we would feel if we had it in this moment. And what I mean by this is he talks about how we all have a past and we have stories from our past. And many of these stories make us believe that we can't have the life that we want. So because of our past, the feelings and the thoughts that we have today could possibly be negative. And he says these feelings and thoughts turn into attitudes, and these attitudes turn into beliefs, and the beliefs turn into perceptions. And if we have a negative view of our past, we could have a negative view of the present, and it's hard to create the future we desire. So he talks about that if you want to change your life in this moment, you have to choose to believe you could have the life that you want and actually feel those emotions, have those thoughts. And although I find this so fascinating, and I've seen people that have been able to do this, the problem that most of us have is we are afraid of the unknown. So this way of changing our life, he's asking us to have a blind faith, a faith that even though we can't see it, even though we can't know it, let's create that energy today and bring it into the future. But if you're afraid of uncertainty, the minute something doesn't go your way, you might decide, I'm going to get a new job. And I'm going to create this feeling of a new job, this emotion of a new job. But then you go out, send your resume out, you have 5 interviews, and you don't get one. If you're afraid of uncertainty, if the minute you see something you don't like, it's hard for you to believe that it could change. It's hard for you to have faith based on the past, based on your upbringing. It's going to be almost impossible to hold those positive thoughts. So as much as we try, as much as we want to live in the energy of a different future, we lose it because we're so afraid when we don't see life going our way. How could it possibly change? How could we possibly have a life tomorrow that we've never had? There's no evidence for it. And that's why our relationship with uncertainty is our foundational fear, but it's also the key to changing our lives. Because if you could start to see uncertainty as a place of unlimited possibilities, if you could start to see uncertainty as a place your life changes because it hasn't been written yet, if you start to get comfortable that there's always hope in the unknown, that these new feelings, these new intentions are possible. And sometimes I wonder if this idea of maybe that I'm going to talk about is more of a cognitive faith, but it doesn't matter. If you're able to look out into the unknown with hope and not lose your way and not let the unexpected make you feel despair, not let the unexpected make you feel you can't have the life that you want, you are hanging out with some of the greatest manifestors. The people that have created the most abundance, the people that are most peaceful in the moment. So how can we do this? How can we change our relationship with uncertainty so it doesn't frighten us? How can we believe that our life can be different? How can we believe that the past doesn't matter? And for me in my life, this all changed when I started to embrace the mindset of maybe. And how maybe works is that it makes you question the things that you believe. It makes you question the absolute nature of your fears and your thoughts. So in a way, you're casting doubt, you're casting uncertainty onto these fears, onto these thoughts. So let's say you're looking for a job and you're being positive and you're like, I'm going to change my life. I want to start a new profession. You send out those 5 resumes. You go on those 5 interviews. And people tell you, well, you don't have enough experience for this job. We had a lot of applicants. and someone else was more qualified. Or sometimes you didn't even hear back. And what you do is you ask, well, what's my fear here? Why can I no longer believe that I could get a new job? Why can I no longer believe I could change my career? And then you find the fear. I'm afraid I can't find a new job because I don't deserve it. I'm afraid I can't find a new job because I got 5 rejections. I'm afraid I can't get a new job because everyone's telling me how hard it is to make a change. And then you question those fears. Are you absolutely certain those fears are true? And this is the most beautiful moment. Just like you look into the future and uncertainty might scare you. Now you have your first opportunity to use uncertainty to your advantage. Are you absolutely certain you can't get a new job? No, you can't be certain of anything. Are you absolutely certain that those 5 rejections mean you won't get the next job? No. Are you absolutely certain that what people tell you is true? No, you cannot be certain of anything. And then you bring in the maybe statements. And what the maybe statements do is they allow you to look into the future. They allow you to look into the unknown and realize there are possibilities that you might like. That because you can't know, yeah, it might not work out, but maybe it will. We live in the maybe not, and we forget that there's another side of uncertainty. And that's the maybe filled with the hope, filled with your intentions, filled with your desires, filled with dreams that come true. And then you just write maybe statements down. Sometimes in the beginning, they're really broad. Maybe things will get better. Maybe everything is going the way it's supposed to. Maybe everything is still okay. And then you get more specific. Maybe the 8th resume I send out, I'll get that job. Maybe what people are telling me is not true. Maybe there are more opportunities than I can imagine. Maybe I need to take a class. Maybe I need to go through a list of my contacts and call some more people. Maybe I could have the life that I want. You just take a deep breath. And if you do these maybe statements every day for 10, 15 minutes, hope comes in. Because that story, things can never change for me. It's not absolutely certain. Your fears are not certain and the future's not certain. So that means there are infinite possibilities, and some of those possibilities are things that you desire, things that you want. So when we deal with our fear of uncertainty, when we realize that the future is our best friend, if you want your life to change, it has to happen in the unknown. When you start to see that, then you're going to be able to hold more positive thoughts today. You're going to be able to hold how it's going to feel when the things you want and the things you love come your way. And if you have negative thoughts, if you feel scared, don't suppress them. If you do, it'll stay within you. There's nothing wrong with processing doubt, feeling sad, feeling scared. That's how you're feeling. But you can use this idea of maybe to question it. Use this idea of maybe to bring more hope in. And then when the hope comes in, the light comes in, and perhaps you'll be able to go back to those wonderful feelings of what your future would look like. When you start to see that the unexpected brings good things too. You have what it takes to change your life. You have what it takes to let go of the stories of the past. And if you start to use this idea of maybe, you could even question those thoughts. Maybe that thought's not true. Maybe the past will never happen again. Anytime you use maybe for the past or the future, you end up in the moment. And the moment is your most powerful place. It's where you plant the seeds for tomorrow. I know that you have beautiful goals and beautiful things that you want to do with your life. And I know that the future has not been written yet. And it is filled with maybe and hope and possibility. Because for all you know, maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you'd like to listen to my newly released audiobook for The Gift of Maybe, it's available at all major audio platforms. And if you like this podcast, I hope you subscribe and leave a comment.